your hostess, the Naughty Scribe, and yes, I already know. What the fuck, Naughty? Where the hell have you been for the last few weeks? Well, in all honesty, lovers, a fluffy femme fatale was sick as hell. I had some personal business to take care of. I got a really bad cold. It developed into bronchitis. Big whoop. Thank you, Mercy. I had some good drugs and damn good job that gave me damn good benefits. Okay. Especially with all the mess that's been going on. I found it very ironic that I got that sick during the healthcare debate with these assholes. So trust and believe, I am very grateful that I have insurance and excuse me. So if I sound a little huskier than normal, a little breathier than normal, it's not me turning up the naughty factor as if I could. It's simply that I'm still a little ill, but I had to come in tonight, okay? So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Miss Quatis, Mama Maria, Mama Bear Hicks, Danielle, and Brian, who are on Facebook Live. Remember, I always do my first segment or so on Facebook Live, so feel free to jump in anytime you want. I'll shout you out as I see you. If you send me little questions on the topic, I'll answer them live on air, okay? With that said, we're going to jump right into tonight's topic. Now, yep, that was on me, so let's go ahead and get naughty and we'll jump into tonight's topic.
Welcome, lover. I'm the Naughty Scribe, author, businesswoman, and your host for the next hour. This live stream is dedicated to love, sex, acceptance, and understanding the lifestyle and ultimate sensuality. Trust me, lover, the knowledge I drop will be straight, no chaser. So sit back and prepare yourself. It's about to get naughty.
Welcome back, lovers. Once again, you've tuned in to the Nyce and Naughty Hour. I'm your hostess, the Naughty Scribe. Now, while I was convalescing with bronchitis, a really cool diva that I do business with called, and among other things, she wanted to talk to me about the proper way to go about a menage a trois. Her and her partner want to bring in another female. Now, I know we've covered this topic before in depth, but tonight I want to do it specifically from a female focus. Because some of the questions she asked me, though, for those of us who are in the lifestyle and open about it, they seem kind of basic. But when you take a step back and you look at it from someone who it's still relatively new for, there are some rookie mistakes you don't want to make that could take something that's a little exciting, a little naughty, and a lot of fun, and turn it into a whole hell of a lot of a mess that you just don't need. So I thought that we go into that. So this is how it started. Yes, I'm sick, coughing, ha ha ha, in my bed. Get a call, ring, ring, ring. We're talking about business and other things. Then she starts talking to me about, well, you know, I want to ask you a personal question. I'm like, sure, of course. I'm open. So she tells me that, you know, she and her partner were talking about having a menage a trois. Okay, excellent. Kudo number one. They talked about it first. It wasn't about springing it or trying to sneak it in or being cute about it. They honestly had a discussion about bringing a third person into their love life. So kudos to you for doing it. Then we started talking about the different ways they were going about it. Now, they met someone on an app that they both found attractive and they wanted to meet. But she started having certain vibes. Her spidey senses started going off. Hey, Romeo. Again, you guys know I shout out my people who watch on Facebook Live. So we got our master involved, Mr. Romeo. Okay, so anyway, she started telling me about things that she wasn't feeling comfortable about. And then she asked me, which I thought was kind of prophetic, is it appropriate to ask someone for HIV or STD test? And I'm like, sweetheart, not only is it appropriate, it's fucking necessary. And anybody who has a problem with that, don't fuck them. Literally, don't fuck them. Okay? That's either someone who knows and don't want you to know, who doesn't know and don't want to know, which is even scarier, okay? Or who hasn't a clue. And all three of those are no-goes for me. I'm going to give you some great resources a little later in this segment on where you can go to get free testing done. You don't even have to pay for it. It's that much of a necessity that the government and organizations will pay for it for you if you're interested in honestly knowing. I'm going to tell you now, not only do I have it done on a regular basis with my doctor's office, but as I was explaining to my two lovies, my Sam and my Jacob, I actually got my last STD HIV test done at DMV when I was getting titles renewed for a new car. They were already set up, private room, took a little prick, a little swab, less than 15 minutes. I had my results. Yes, the bitch is clean, but it's that simple, okay? And trust and believe, you know when someone's happy about their results because they show you, okay? They brag about it. So I'm just saying there are going to be other resources that I'm going to give you. But if you don't have a test and your potential partner doesn't have a test, that's a no-go. No exciting, exotic piece of dick, no luscious piece of pussy is worth your health, your life, your finances, okay? Just putting it out there. Let's have some priorities in place first of all. Okay, so again, I had this talk with this diva and it was like, so what? You want to do a threesome? So we're going to tell it from her story. First, you need to know that there's different ways to meet people. And we're going to talk about the pros and cons of that. Now, this particular friend, she met the female that she wanted to get involved with or was interested in getting involved with on an app called Feel. There's a couple of those out there too. But you also have social groups like Nyce and Naughtie, Voluptuous Cafe, Twist and Curves, BBW. There are all kinds of social groups out there specifically for those who want to indulge in the alternate lifestyle and do it safely and soundly. And I'm going to give you the pros and cons of both doing it from an app and getting involved, which you know I preach a lot, in a responsible, legitimate social group, okay? There are perks to both and there's some downfalls, okay? And we're going to be honest about those. But first she had some concerns. Her spidey senses were going off because she just wasn't really getting a completely comfortable vibe. And what I tell my ladies, your instincts are a lot better than you give yourself credit for. So if you meet a male or if you meet a female who makes you feel a little off, not necessarily run for the hills, they're a Jeffrey Dahmer type or, you know, Hannibal Lecter. It's just something just doesn't feel right, doesn't sit right with you. That is your spidey senses giving you some good information. Pay attention to that. And if your partner is dismissive of that, that's when you need to call it off, sit down with him or her and have a nice little talk and explain to them that you're not comfortable. Because here's another part of a three-way, darling. There are three of you. And one of those three is your significant other, whether it be your lover, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, okay? You are inviting someone else into your love life to have a little fun with, okay? They are not your primary person, at least not yet. It can be, and we're going to talk about that later. But initially, they're just a little extra excitement the two of you have agreed to bring into your love life. So if you are not comfortable, that's a full stop. Because for a menage a trois to work, all three of you must be comfortable with each other, must be attracted to each other, because what the hell? Why would you fuck someone you can't even look at? It doesn't make sense. I don't care how many people are involved. If I'm going to have a dick in my mouth, it better be one I want there, okay? Not just because it makes my boyfriend or my girlfriend excited to see me doing it, okay? Hey, Brian, how are you? Another one of my lovers joined in. So first and foremost, you need to communicate with each other. You need to be comfortable with each other. You must not feel pressured for any reason, meaning that if one of you wants this a little more than the other one, full stop. Once again, if the three of you are not on the same page, you do not need to be doing this. Also, you've heard the saying, everything that glitters isn't gold. And there's a good reason for that. You might meet, you know, Mr. Knockout, GQ Beefcake, or the bomb Beyonce wannabe bitch of the year, okay? You don't really know what their intent or motives are if you're just jumping into it. If you just see something that attracts you and you think, hey, they're willing, the two of you are willing, let's do this. You might have yourself a fantastic evening. And then the next morning you wake up with the police knocking on your door because this bitch done filed sexual assault charges and called the police, and you didn't tell your pastor, your mama, your daddy, and nobody else what you're into. So now you look like a creeper and a possible sexual assailant, and this bitch is looking to get paid or extort you, may have taken your wallet, or, and another thing we're going to talk about later, she may have developed feelings for one or the other of you and don't want to let that shit go. So trust and believe, just because it looks good doesn't mean it's for you. Don't just jump in there. Remember, communicate, trust your feelings, but take time to develop a threesome. A threesome, regardless, even if it's a one-night stand, it needs to be planned. And if it's someone you really like and you could see maybe continuing this with on a regular or semi-regular basis, it then becomes a relationship. Doesn't mean it's your primary relationship, but it still becomes a relationship. Anybody you're fucking more than once or twice, it becomes something. One or more of you are going to catch feelings. And you need to be considerate and conscious of that fact. If it's just a sexual thing, and trust me, I don't judge. I love just a sexual thing. Sister got herself some playmates. They understand their role. I understand mine. That itch scratch needs to be scratched. I can hit somebody on speed dial. If you're available, we can do this, have our fun. Might go out to dinner, might go out to a movie, hit it later on. Then I go live my life. They go live theirs until the itch hits again. We have people in our lives like that. And there's nothing wrong as long as everybody is okay with that. If everyone is understanding of that. But if I got one person thinking that, you know, we're developing something and I'm thinking, that was a nice piece, but I'm straight right now, I got other shit to do, and my phone starts blowing up because I haven't been paying them any attention or I haven't hit them up for a while, somebody was not being straight with someone. There was no meeting of the minds. And rather than get my windows busted out and my tires blown out, slashed, we need to have a conversation. The time to have the conversation, though, is not after you done hit that ass. It's well before you even meet it. Know what the intent is, and we're going to talk about that some more. But just remember, again, what we talked about. You need to communicate with your partner and your potential partner. You need to be at least attracted to them. You need to know who you're doing this for. Are you doing it for your partner because he or she really has been fantasizing about this, and that's the only reason you're doing it? Or are you getting involved in this because it's something you want to do too, that you derive pleasure from? And also, it's not unheard of or wrong to debate who's going to be in the three-way. Because remember, lovers, women, we go both ways too. Men, you go both ways too. So if your partner springs on you, your male partner springs on you, that he would like to have a three-way and he's attracted to another guy, that's, again, something you need to consider, but it's also something you need to talk about. Because if the first time you're hearing that your partner is attracted to males is when he asks you to have a three-way with another male, y'all needed to be doing some talking well before the issue of a menage a trois comes up. Okay, same thing with you ladies. If you're interested in certain females, there's nothing wrong with that. No judging. But your partner should know that you have those inclinations. Doesn't mean you prefer a woman over him, or guys, you prefer a man over her. It means that it is something you're open to. It is something you're curious about. It is something you might have fantasized about. And a menage a trois in a safe, sound, and consensual surrounding and environment is a great place to work out some of those issues, to indulge in some desires or whatnot, explore some fantasies. You never know. You might try and decide, you know what? That worked better in my head than it did in real life. I'm really not into that. Or it'd be like, oh, hallelujah, yes, we can do this. So all I'm saying is that you need to communicate. You need to be open to what your partner may be open to, because when it comes to menage a trois, you will be surprised at some of the kinkiest shit your partner may want to do and just didn't feel comfortable on a one-on-one situation asking you. But when you're with a third person, it's almost like you have a license. You're giving each other permission to be a little freakier than you normally would be, so nobody's judging, or you feel freer. And you feel like no one's going to judge you, because I promise you somebody's going to get mad. It may come up later, but at least you'll know how to handle it. And we're going to talk about that shit too. So it's coming up on our first break. Let's jump into it, and then we're going to get it in. Okay? See you in one. welcome back, lovers. I'm the Naughty Scribe, and once again, you've tuned in to the Nice and Naughty Hour. Now, we're revisiting the subject of menage a trois with a female focus. So, guys, don't think this is not for you. There's great information that you'll need. So, when you approach your lady about bringing in a third person, you are forearmed and forewarned. So, when she starts making certain comments, you watch the Nice and Naughty Hour and you know how to respond, okay? And ladies, this is about you being honest about some shit. Now, first of all, rule number 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through infinity. You must always take care of your primary relationship, first and foremost. Remember, a menage a trois is you bringing in a third person, male, female, or in between, doesn't matter. We don't judge, whatever floats your boat, okay? Because I'm going to tell you something. I done enough dirty shit that, holy water is questionable around me. That said, I'm honest about my shit, which a lot of you know. So, again, you need to be very honest, but you need to nurture your primary relationship, because at the end of the day, that third person goes back to their life. You're the one that has to go home with your partner, okay? And if something went down or you didn't discuss something and it was just sprung on you in the heat of the moment, it's going to be a whole hell of a lot of drama for a little ass that just ain't going to be worth it. Because I'm going to tell you now, a great orgasm is something you will remember, but the feeling of it will linger. That's why we keep doing it over and over again, to refresh it. But a pissed off partner is a misery you will live with till the end of your natural life. So I'm telling you now, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth hearing some bullshit when somebody got mad and they throw something in your face that you didn't do or you shouldn't have done or you did without their permission because you broke certain rules. We're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, talk to your partner. Make it clear that your feelings are first and foremost for your partner. That this other person coming in is someone mutual to the two of you. That this is something you both want and desire. Not one wants it more than the other. You both want it and desire it. And it's with a partner that the two of you can agree on and that you are attracted to. Now, here's a little twist, because I know we're talking about the menage a trois, but I'm going to get into swapping real quick. Swapping is when you exchange partners with another couple. So, for instance, if the two of you decide that you really do want to indulge in a menage a trois, but you're really set on being with another man, he's really set on being with another woman, now you think, well, this can't happen. Yes, it can. It just means that now you go from a menage a trois to a foursome. Okay, it means that you invite in a couple, but the same rules are going to apply to this couple. You're going to need to vet them. You're going to need to get a good feel for them. You're going to need to be comfortable with them. You're going to need to be attracted to them, and they're going to have certain rules, just like you're going to have certain rules. And there's going to have to be an understanding that you don't violate that. You don't overstep. And we're going to talk about those a little later. Hey, Marquis, how are you, sweetheart? We got another one of my lovers joining in on Facebook Live. And remember, if you want to see the clips and all the nice little goodies that we put in the background and into the show, feel free to join in to listenvisionlive.com. But we're going to hang on Facebook for a little while longer. Okay, so let's talk about in my example I gave of my girlfriend that gave me a call. She met someone on an app called Feel. Now, some of you want to know what an app is. Most of us know what they are. You just don't know what they are because you're so used to them. But an app is just a simple program, usually on a downloadable, on a mobile device like your smartphone or your tablet. It's like when you click on Facebook icon or you click on Twitter, you click on your banking app to make that transfer to cover that credit card purchase you just made and didn't pay that bill last week. Those are apps. It's just a small application software program dedicated to a task, okay? Basically, that's all it is. But it's usually something that you will use mostly on a downloadable, on a mobile application like your tablet or your cell phone. Yeah, there are apps for your computer, but most people, we're on the go. We want our shit to travel with us. Now, a social group is just that. It is a group of like-minded individuals who get together for a particular purpose, okay? If you have a bowling team, that's a social group. You guys like bowling. You get together to bowl and have fun with each other because you like bowling, and you get on and you develop friendships for that. You might be a member of a lifestyle group, such as myself, and I'm a member of several, as well as the founder and owner of one. Um, Like-minded people get together. For instance, I'm a member of several who like big girls, okay? Worship big girls. So my sisters with a little extra curve, don't think you're not attractive. Trust and believe. Never underestimate a big ass and a smile, okay? There are guys out there who will literally drop to their knees and worship the fuck out of you. Literally. That being said, there are some social groups that like the skinny mini, some social groups that like light versus dark. It doesn't matter. A social group is where you have like-minded people that get together for a particular purpose and want to be around people who don't judge but have similar interests, okay? That being said, again, it could be a bowling group, it could be a tennis group, it could be VW bug aficionados who get together, car freaks, whatever. Those are social groups. In our particular case, we're going to talk about intimate social groups versus apps, okay? Hey Zenful, how you doing, darling? Another one of my lovers joining in on Facebook Live. Okay, so we talked about the fact that you must always nurture and take care of, prioritize your main relationship, your primary relationship. Now let's talk about a little bit of what it means to actually get involved in a threesome. First, it must be fully consensual. We did a whole show on consensual. Consensual means no drug impairment, no alcohol impairment, no underage, because underage can't give consent. Your ass is going to jail where you deserve to be. It means that this person is fully cognizant of what it is you're about to do and they are on board with that. So remember, in order to have a safe, sound, enjoyable menage a trois or threesome, it must be fully consensual. Also, know who you're doing it for. Remember, if you are being pressured to do this because your partner really wants this and you're going along with it, that's a disaster waiting to happen. You are not really into it, which means the likelihood that some drama is going to jump off in the middle of everybody getting their freak on is high, extremely high. If you're doing it because, you know what, I'm glad you brought up the fact that you're attracted to Amy Sue. You know what? I think Amy Sue is attractive too, but I don't want to fuck Amy Sue. I want to get somebody similar to her. Again, communicate, be clear on what it is you're going to do. That's our next topic. Intent. Know why you're getting into this. It's not just that you just want to do it. Everybody just wants to have sex. That's not a problem. We love having sex. But know the intent. Are you getting involved in a three-way because you really want to bring a third person into your relationship? Or you just want to have a little extra fun and you want an extra sex partner? There's a difference. Because if you just want a hookup, there are safe ways to go about that. And there are individuals who don't want the commitment to dealing with a relationship. They want to hit it when it's convenient and keep it moving every other time. Again, if that's the intent, that's great. There's a problem, however, if you want to hold on to this person and they are just a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay? They don't want to be bothered with you. They had their fun. They're moving on. That's drama because now the phone's blowing up, the emails are blowing up, you're trolling my ass on Facebook or Twitter, Google Plus or wherever. I don't want to be bothered with you. It wasn't like that for me. Okay, so again, know the intent and trust and believe. Some of y'all are laughing. Hey, babies. Some of y'all are laughing, but you know I'm telling the truth. How many of y'all, we all been there, a little desperate for a little something, something back in the day, and you done had a questionable piece of ass or questionable piece of dick. You got it out. You got that itch out. You had to do it. Knocked it out. Maybe it was the guy down the street that you don't normally talk to. You know, maybe it was that bitch that works the copy machine in the office who's always had a crush on you, but you weren't feeling her. But this particular time, some things started happening and you gave in to it, but it was only to scratch an itch. That's all it was ever supposed to be. Now, this person then developed feelings for you. They thought that you really cared about them, or else you would not have gone to the extent of having sex with them. And they don't understand why you're avoiding them, why you don't answer their calls, you know, why you're hanging out with this other person. You know, how could you do this to them? That's what we're talking about, intent. Before you ever tap that ass, before you ever suck that dick, first thing you want to do is make sure everybody is on the same damn page. This is to bring you into our relationship. This is us having a little fun, and we don't want a true third or unicorn involved in our relationship. And I say that for a very important reason. Your primary relationship can suffer dramatically if you jump into this when you truly aren't ready. It's just something titillating and it didn't mean anything. It is much better if you understand what the other needs. And let's be honest, maybe one person wants a little something extra and the other one doesn't. You don't have to have a menage a trois. You don't have to do a damn thing. If you are not interested in having another person outside of your partner, and I've heard people say this over and over again, well, if that's the case, why would we get married? If that's the case, why are we together? If you want to fuck other people, then why don't you just fuck other people? Why don't you leave me alone? Maybe it's because he loves your ass or she loves your ass. Just because you get the twitch or itch for something on the side does not mean your heart is not with that person. Let's be clear. There is a difference between primal urges and a committed heart. In the best of circumstances, they go together, but not always. Sometimes you can have an open relationship, been in many, where the emotions are very strong for each other and you're committed to each other, but you have somebody on the side to have a little fun with. Again, you take care of the primary relationship, meaning that if my boo goes out to go see his side piece, he knows and she knows she ain't the wifey. He ain't paying her damn bills. He ain't taking nothing from this home he didn't bring to it. That bitch better not be here when I come home. We ain't having no strangers here. You go do you, boo-boo. But then that means, however, if I'm late coming home from work one weekend and I got a smile on my face and I go straight to the shower, keep your fucking mouth shut because you did your thing, I did mine, okay? And if that's a problem, that means neither one of us need to be tipping, slipping, sliding, nothing else. We need to keep it right where we are and explore ways to make our relationship a little more kinkier and freakier. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. One of the things that I get frustrated with, lovers, is where you try to compare your freak factor to somebody else, someone who doesn't mean shit to you, someone you're not even interested in having sex with, but you hear people talking about, oh, they done jumped off a trampoline and gave a blowjob under 80 feet of water, and suddenly you feel like I'm not freaky enough. No, that's their freak factor. That's what satisfies them. If missionary or doggy style every day is what do it for you, then guess what? You have a healthy sex life. If you're getting off and you're happy, that's what your sex life is. If you want to add a little something to it, then add it. If you don't, don't. Your sex life is your sex life. It's not a competition. You don't have to compare to anybody else. Some of us are a little more adventurous. Some of us aren't. Some of us are a little more secure in certain areas. Some of us aren't. And here's a newsflash. You don't need to be. You need to do what makes you comfortable and what you can live with. And that gets back to the pressure part. If your partner wants to experiment with something and you don't, you need to talk about where this where you stand with your relationship in this. Is your relationship strong enough? And again, not bullshitting each other. Can you say to yourself, it's just sex. I'll let him or her go out and do what they want to do as long as they respect certain rules. I'm not interested in it, but my partner is, this is what I'm going to allow them to do. And yes, I mean allow, because allow means you can do that shit and still come home without me stabbing your ass, okay? If, on the other hand, you got to sneak around and lie to me about what you're doing, even if you think I know, you're sneaking and you're cheating. There's a difference. Cheating is doing shit you can't do in front of my face. And if you can't do it in front of my face, and if you can't do it with me knowing about it, your ass shouldn't be doing it. That is a time where you have to think about, do you want to stay in this relationship or do you want to walk away? Because the urge to do something other is stronger to you than that primary relationship. So do understand there are some risks, and we're going to talk about those a little later. As it is now, we're going to jump into our next break, and we'll be back in one. Welcome back, lovers. I'm the Naughty Scribe, and once again, you've tuned into the Nice and Naughty Hour. So we were talking about the differences between a social group and an app, and I want to get into some real comparisons. Okay, with an app, you have a profile. Basically, someone puts up who they say they are and a nice picture, some brief vital statistics to give you an impression of them. Social group, on the other hand, you meet that person face to face. You actually get to see them. You get to judge their body language. You get a sense of who they are. You get a chance to actually feel them out. That's different than a profile. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with using an app to meet like-minded individuals to indulge in. But if you're talking about meeting a third person to bring into your relationship, understand that there's a difference between meeting someone on an app and meeting someone in a social group. Again, with an app, the first thing you see is their profile. A profile is whatever information I want to put up there with whoever picture I want to put up there. It might be mine, it might not be. I might be honest with you, I might be exaggerating some shit. I literally met someone once from a dating site years ago who told me he was 6'5". Then when I met him, he was barely taller than I am, and I'm 5'1". Okay. It was him, though, but he exaggerated a few things. Now, you can't look me in my face and we're in a social group and tell me, yeah, how you 7 feet tall and your feet are swinging from the floor while you're sitting on a bar stool. It doesn't work. So again, just remember that there are pros and cons to both. So when you meet someone on an app, you're just introduced to their profile. When you meet someone in a social group, you are actually meeting that person face to face, and there's some judgment, some impressions that you get from a person when you sit down and talk with them. The next thing is quantity versus quality. With an app, you have a whole lot more options to pick and choose from than you do in a social group. Why? Because an app is anybody who's logged on there. You might have a couple of hundred people to a couple of thousand people in your area who are interested in the same thing you are, and it'll take you forever, maybe a whole weekend, to skim through all your choices. So an app can provide you with a great quantity of options, where with a social group, you're limited to the amount of people who happen to be in that group. You might even be limited to the amount of people who attended a particular event, like what we like to have in a lot of social groups are called meet and greets. They can be at a bowling alley, they can be at a bar, a movie theater, they can be a barbecue, a picnic, it could be a house party, whatever. There's nothing sexual per se going on. It's just a chance for you to sit down, break bread, get a chance to talk to people about your experiences, learn from their experiences, maybe make some connections for future activities that are a bit more intimate. But again, if only 10 people show up to that meet and greet, then your options are limited to those 10 people. The transverse is those 10 people are of a quality. They are like-minded people of a certain age, of a certain background, of a certain social set, because each group kind of customize who they want in their group and who they don't. So you already go into it with a commonality. So even if it's not a lot of people there, you may end up making better connections as opposed to going through 200 people that answered to your profile or thought you were cute and wanted to check you out like you want to check them out. So remember, an app gives you quantity of options. A social group gives you quality of people. Okay? So again, those are some of the pros and cons with that. A app, you kind of get your interest piqued. So I might see somebody like Jacob or Sam on there and think, ooh, cute couple. You know, I might want to hang with them. I might want to get to know them. I'm just picking on them because those are my babies. But they may be a cute couple, and they are, that I'm interested in. Don't worry about it. But that's what I would find on I would get from their profile, someone that piques my interest. A social group, however, there's chemistry. I've had a chance to sit down with Sam and Jacob. I've had a chance to get a feel for them. I've had a chance to be a little flirty with them. I've had a chance to find out what their interests are, what they aren't. They have a chance to get a feel for me, to find out, hey, Fluffy ain't doing it, but I do like hanging out with you, whatever. You get more of a feel, more of an understanding for a person. again, when you meet them in a social group, and it's non-threatening because and non-judgmental, because everybody that's there is there for the same reason. With an app, you can see someone that piques your interest. You may pique someone else's interest. If it's mutual, the two of you will leave each other messages, but it's a little cold of a start, which means the first time you meet, it's kind of awkward. When you meet someone for the first time in a social group, you're not really looking to meet anyone. It's just like, hey, here's a cool group of people, let's talk, let's see who we get along with. But connections start to develop. So again, app, you see things on there that pique your interest. Social group, you have a chance to see chemistry, to see if, maybe there is something percolating or not. Spidey senses and as is. Now, here's where you start touching on some darker stuff. If I put up a profile, it is what it is. If I tell you that I'm 110, really? One of my boobs isn't 110, okay? But if I tell you I'm 110 with flowing waist length hair, and that's the picture that I put up there, you're going to be a little disappointed when you meet me in person, because in your mind, you have met this fantastic svelte diva with a horse mane full of hair that you just imagine yourself grabbing and tugging and some more stuff. Then you meet big, black, and bald. That's not the fantasy that you had in mind. Understand, when you go to an app, you are basically initially taking on face value whatever the fuck they put there. It might be true. Don't get me wrong. Not everybody is into scamming you. Not everybody is into faking you out online. Some people are just honest, and it's like whatever the fuck it's going to be. But when you meet someone in person, okay, you have the ability to let your spidey sense work for you. If he's a creeper or she's a stalker, you kind of get some vibes from someone. If someone is way too nice, if they never seem to say a bad thing, if they purport, which is one of my warning bells, if they purport to be holier than thou, if everything is about the love of God, this and love of God or that, at the same token, you're trying to figure out what cup size I am, I'm not really feeling you. Like I said, sometimes, ladies, our spider senses are damn on point. We ignore them because he's got a brilliant smile or she's got an excellent dimple, okay? That's the difference between an app and a social group. A social group, I've met you in person. I get an impression from you. Even if you're on your best behavior, my life experience tells me you're full of shit, or you're someone I might want to get to know better. You got great conversation, but something doesn't feel right. Or, ooh, this is all green lights. I'm glad I came and met you. Didn't even know you were my type, but hey, we can do this. That is something that I get to do when I'm in a social group at a meet and greet or some kind of event. If, on the other hand, I'm going on your profile, when I finally meet you, you may not have lived up to your profile. Again, you may not be as tall as you said you were. You may have exaggerated your weight. You might have said you drove a car when really you were taking the metro. I mean, you can be whoever you want to be on a profile. And now the detective work starts when we finally meet in person. Some of that goes away when you meet a person one-on-one in a social group because, again, most of the people there are like-minded. But here's another thing. If you have shown up to enough meet and greets, other people have heard your rap. Other people have witnessed you. You have someone to talk to. I might sit down with Sam and say, hey, this guy named Earl, he seems kind of nice, but I'm feeling a little funny about him. Have you ever talked to him? Have you ever dated him? Do you know anybody? Now I can start getting references on your game when I'm in a social group. And trust and believe, one thing women will do in a social group, they will fucking tell you the tea. And here's another thing, so will the guys, especially if the guys want to fuck you. If a guy is sitting there and he knows, wait a minute, he's got a psycho wife and he does not telling her that he's tipping in the background, you seem nice, let me let you have that 411 and do what you're going to do. That's something great. Those are benefits that you get when you're involved in a decent and reputable social group. On an app, you only know what they put out there. Again, it could be true, It might not be. You have to do a little detective work when you first meet this person. You have to kind of memorize the shit that they put down there, memorize what they're telling you. And if there's a second date, which there needs to be several dates before you end up taking them to bed, you kind of now can say, wait a minute, didn't you tell me you work for, the Trump campaign? Now you're telling me you basically clean horse manure at the park? These are the things you want to listen for and look out for. So remember, when you deal with someone in a social group, you have references. You have other people who may know them and can give you the 411 on them. When you meet someone from an app, you're basically taking them as is, and you got to do a little more detective work. Again, it's nothing wrong either way, but just know what you're up against when you go an app versus a social group. Hopefulness versus verification. Okay, now I kind of touched on this, but we're going to stop laughing, Jade. But we're going to really get into this one. If I see someone's profile on an app and it is everything I've ever wanted in a partner, whether they be male or female, I am projecting my hopefulness on them. They may be everything I want them to be. They may be straight across the board, but here's a news flash. I'm not what they want. Now, my feelings are hurt and crushed because they saw a cute picture. They thought, hey, I'd like to meet this person, see if any chemistry works out. They didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong, but you got really hopeful because everything was firing on all cylinders, as they say. And then when the person met you, you didn't do it for them. Verification, social group. Social group is, I'm at a meet and greet. I'm at a bowling party. I'm at a picnic or barbecue. The whole point of a meet and greet is just that, to meet a group of people, say hello to each other, and have a little conversation, socialize. So I know right there and then, my battery's getting ready to go out. So I know right there and then whether or not I'm feeling this person and whether or not they're feeling me. So I might see somebody go, he's cute, but he's not really giving me any attention or play. Clearly, I'm not doing it for him. It is a lot easier to deal with that kind of, I don't do it for him, than the hopefulness you get in dealing with someone's profile. Because again, when you deal with someone's profile, and especially the first few interactions you have with them, which is usually online, texting or instant messaging each other, when you have that kind of interaction with someone, you have a tendency to project what you want from that person onto them, whether or not it's justified or not. So then when you meet them in person and they actually do turn out to be everything you had hoped them to be, the one thing you didn't count on is that maybe you're not everything they wanted. So you tend to take it personally and you feel crushed. Because again, you were hopeful. You projected a lot of what you wanted onto them. When you meet someone at a meet and greet, it is what it is, but you get that instant understanding from them. You might kick it with someone that you will never go to bed with, but you have made a new friend. You have someone you can talk to, someone who can help guide you, someone you can help guide, someone whose ear you can chew on, but someone who understands what it is you're going through, what it is you want to get involved in. Maybe you do develop a relationship with them, or maybe you just develop a good friendship. Those are some of the benefits and the pros and cons of a social group versus an app. Okay, so we're going to get into our last break, one more break, and then our last segment. Okay, so lovers, we're going to get on our flag and a play, which you know is where mama tells you about the shit you should not be doing. Okay, especially if you're going to get into a menage a trois. So I'll see you back in one. welcome back, lovers. I'm the Naughty Scribe, and once again, you've joined me on the Nice and Naughty Hour. Now, we talked about in our Getting It In segment the pros and cons of a dating app versus a social group. Now, no secret, full disclosure, I'm prone to social groups. I have nothing against apps, nothing against Tinder, nothing against Field, none of that. I have no Match.com even has an app. I have no problems with that because you do get exposed to a large pool of people that you would not meet otherwise. But for a more intimate, more substantial connection, I prefer social groups. That's just me personally. But like I said, I was going to be honest with you guys on the pros and cons of both. Now it's time to get into our flag on the play. Okay, so here's some of the shit that you don't want to be bothered with when you're dealing with a threesome. Pro, you have the freedom to experiment, to discover new desires. Hey, I didn't know getting my ass smacked like that felt so good, okay? You have the ability to indulge in some fantasies, you know? That's when you want to get into some BDSM, some bondage, you know, some little tricks and tweaks and all kinds of goody little stuff. See me getting all excited, especially because I've been sick, so a sister's overdue. But you get a chance to indulge in things that maybe you don't normally in your one-on-one. I have a friend who's very straight, very butch, and he loves strap-ons. Not a damn thing wrong with that, because guess what? Mama has one that fits a plus-size girl, and we can do this shit, okay? Doesn't make him gay or anything. He just loves the anal experience. And here's a news flash. You do have a gland back there. It's called a prostate gland. That's why you get those little urges and feelings when your doctor's giving you a rectal exam and you don't want to admit that shit felt good. That's why. You have a gland back there that is very pleasant when it's stimulated, which is why some men love to get a finger back there, some like to get a butt plug, and some go full force with a dildo. Again, a threesome gives you an opportunity to indulge in certain kind of fantasies. The flip side of that, though, is jealousy can creep in. Why? Because maybe I didn't know my man liked the butt plug, and now this bitch then pulled out a full-blown 5-inch dildo and is banging the shit out of him, and he's coming harder than I've known him to come in the whole 80 years he and I've been living together. Okay? I didn't know. He never told me. But he's letting this bitch do this shit. Yeah, I'm feeling a certain kind of way. Okay? Transversely, hey, this guy ate the fuck out of me. He chewed on my clit like it belonged to him and he was taking it back. Okay? Again, I'm making some ooh ahs. I'm shattering windows. I'm getting ready to lose my people on Facebook Live. I'm oohing and on and carrying on and whatnot. And now my boo doesn't understand. Wait a minute, bitch. You don't make those noises when I'm pounding you out. Again, jealousy can creep in when you're dealing with a menage a trois. Okay, give me 1 second. My lovers on Facebook Live, I thank you for being with me. We actually stayed in here almost to the end of the show, but I'm going to have to let you go because my battery is dying on me for some reason. My phone is getting a little overheated. But again, jump on over to Listen Vision Live and you'll see the show, okay? And if you didn't hear that, that's because my phone already shut down. It was overheated. Okay, so we're going to let this go. I don't know what it is about this cradle, but it overheats my phone. We're going to find something else to do with that. Okay, so anyway, my people on Facebook Live, just come watch the show. Just come to Listen Vision Live. Hit the rest of it. We only got a few more minutes to go anyway. Okay, so yeah, so remember, jealousy can creep in because your lover, it doesn't mean that your lover or your partner doesn't enjoy what you do for them. But again, when you introduce a third person, you also introduce new techniques, new experiences, new sensations. It was new. I never did experience this with you. I didn't know I liked it. Okay, hey, who knew whipped cream and cherries up my nose did it for me? I didn't know. Okay, that's not something you and I ever did together. So remember, new people means new experiences, new sensations. So when that happens, reactions come out that you may not have been aware of, and jealousy creeps in. So if you're not secure in your own relationship, maybe you need to back off, pump the brake a little bit before you add a third person in. Variety. A threesome gives you variety. Again, you got a whole new person who does things different ways. Maybe the things you do for them, they've never experienced or never experienced the way you do it for them. And they're excited, so they're giving you a reaction that maybe your mate has never given you. Variety is the spice of life. You enjoy it. You look forward to it. Flip side of that is you are at an added risk for STDs and HIV. Because let's be honest, people. When you invite somebody else into your life, you're also inviting every person they've ever fucked into your life too. You take a chance. You take a risk. Which brings me to that slide we did not do. So can we get seg pick 1? For those of you who are interested, and that should be everybody, there are places you can go to get a free STD and HIV test. There are testing services. It is considered a public service. If you can't afford it, you can go to PlannedParenthood.org. You can go to YourSTDHelp.com. You can go to gettested.cdc.gov. Or you can also just Google your local Health and Human Services agency. Can we leave that up there just for another minute? If you're watching this, write this down. We're going to post it. It's going to be on our website. We're going to post it with the clip of the show. But these are great resources that you should have. So if you're thinking about bringing in a third person into your love life, yes, you should ask for HIV STD tests. Now, you don't do it the first second you meet someone, but you damn sure want that before you actually get into bed with them. Okay? Can we come back now? So remember, there's nothing wrong with asking for an STD HIV test. It's actually the most responsible thing you can do. And I'm going to be honest with you, lovers. Even if you've been in a relationship, a committed relationship with someone for years, every now and then, it shouldn't be a problem asking your partner, you know what, baby? It's been a while since either one of us was tested. Let's have a date and go to the clinic. And I do mean that. Make it a date. Go to the clinic. Get your tests done. Know what they are. You know, if they're clean, you swap them, give them to each other as a Valentine's Day gift, and then really do some freaky shit. But at least you have that comfort of knowing that both of you are still safe. Because, again, a lot of women and a lot of men catch HIV, catch STDs from their primary partner because they didn't know they were out there doing other things, okay? We're going to take a quick break for a hot second. Can I get that next clip? Yeah. Okay, lovers, I'm so sorry to do this to you, but I'm starting to really feel a little under the weather. So we're going to wrap this up. Just remember, please visit the sites that I gave you to get a free STD test, a free HIV test. Remember, sharing is caring only if you're secure enough in your relationships and honest with each other to indulge, okay? So with that, I thank you for tuning in. Remember, life's nicer when it's naughty. Good night.